to the third episode of the infamous Buddha-cast. I'm Matt Haywood, the Entertainment Buddha, along with our special guests. We have 10 Bensons from the UK.
Easy now.
And we have our lovely lady writer, Anna Febo, down there in Florida.
Hello, all.
And unfortunately, for all you Wu-Tang Clan fans, he is not in attendance this episode, which is heartbreaking, I know, but you'll be able to hear his. I know it is sad, but his deep vocals will be back hopefully on the next episode. So this week's cast is called the PAX Extravaganza and shit, because we got to throw that and shit in there. So Ray and I, who is the Wu-Tang Clan, we actually had the privilege to go out to PAX East last week as members of the media, which is a first for entertainmentboo.com. So yes, kudos to us. We're cool enough to get press access to these lovely video game shows. And while we were out there, we saw tons of great games. Heavy on the indie scene, but also got in some time with some of the bigger AAA games coming out in 2014. So majority of this episode will focus on PAX East and what Ray and I saw, at least from my point of view, since he bailed on us to skate or die. So, let's get started. Just overall experience, this was my first PAX East. I've been to the past two E3s, which are slightly different because those are typically industry only, meaning only press, game developers, and manufacturers get to go. The common gamer really isn't allowed in the E3, although I somehow see them sneaking in there every year. But regardless, PAX East is more of a convention for everyone. I mean, anyone can get in. Yes, we get press, so we get a little bit better access, but anyone can attend PAX East. And so just my overall impressions is it's awesome. I mean, it's a massive convention center full of stuff that we all like to look at. I mean, not just video games. I'm talking tabletop games. They had stages where people could rock out to garage band, or not garage band, but rock band. Yeah, see, Tim Benson's has garage band on my mind because we were doing a little audio setup before the cast started. But I mean, they had stages where people were, Dance Revolution. I mean, it's just that there was a great atmosphere there.
Dance
You would have loved it, Benson's. There was some.
Well, that arcade, that kind of crisscross arcade.
Dancing around. Yeah, I mean, they would have stages set up, and people would line up in droves, mind you.
That's crazy.
To get up on stage in front of a bunch of strangers and do their thing. I mean, I'm sure you guys have both played the rock bands of the world, and maybe even some. I know Benson's is a big fan of dancing games, so I know he's played the. Dance, right?
Dance for me is more like stomp.
Well, trust me, that's what most of the
dance craze revolution. I can throw out loads of shapes, mate.
Well, the way Anna's saying with her stomping, that's pretty much how the grace that most people showcased at PAX East. But I give them credit. I mean, Ray and I, obviously, our balls weren't big enough to get up there and make asses out of ourselves. But anyways, that's just the type of community you get there. And there's also a ton of cosplay. So if you're in the cosplay, you're going to see a lot of this at the PAX events. In particular, I'd say the best one I saw was a young lady wearing the Lightning Cloud outfit from Lightning Returns. So if you played that game and you have that costume, she can basically wear Cloud's costume from Final Fantasy VII. So this girl had the costume, she had the massive wrist guards, and she had a full-size Buster Sword, which if you played Final Fantasy VII and you're a fan of that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, this sword looks like a 2x4 with blades. It was taller than her, so tons of good cosplay, but she easily stuck out as one of the best. Other thing I wanted to touch on, because these events sometimes get a bad rep for booth babes. I know 10 Benson's brought this up when
not saying
when
anything,
I said I was going
anything.
out. And there is an issue there. It is you are kind of sexualizing women to sell products. I kind of take the stance that those females don't have to take the job. So if they want the money, then that's their decision. But with that being said, I can tell you there wasn't a single booth babe at PAX. Not a
Maybe they get. Maybe
yeah, you know what it was.
Maybe they.
I mean, they still had. You could tell they. I'm not interns, but probably temporary help work in the booth, just because. I mean, my goodness, you should have saw the 2K area where they had a half moon set up to represent Borderlands the pre-sequel, and then they had a 30-foot tall Goliath statue for Evolve, and there was just so many people there. I mean, the Evolve booth was where it was at PAX East, but rather than having girls walking around in bikinis, basically, you know, they had nice young ladies there wearing dress slacks and the T-shirt of the game they were representing. So
yeah, that's good.
It was definitely a departure from what I've heard about some of these PAX events and other kind of geeky conventions. So
yeah.
Well, I have to say on that, when I was at MegaCon, I didn't really see a whole lot of very sexualized cosplay. There weren't really any half naked women walking around, and I was very surprised because usually that's what you see. I mean, there's some of these girls just use an excuse to just be half naked, like, oh, I'm gonna be Princess Leia, and
oh yeah, well,
like,
that's the funny thing, Anna, because a lot of times the industry and gamers, they have problems when the companies hire women to basically look hot as hell and shill their game. Now, PAX, that wasn't the case, but the cosplayers, on the other hand, they did take things to the extreme. I saw one very rotund and large female, and more power to her, but she was literally wearing Spankies, and she probably weighed 280. So she was in Spankies with white cowboy boots. So visualize that, people.
Well, I can't because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Spankies. It's basically like underwear.
Like Spanx.
Yeah, that like cheerleaders wear and stuff like that. I mean, it looks like grandma underwear.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff that us women like to wear to kind of hide everything. But
no, trust me, this lady wasn't hiding a single thing. She was large and proud of it. So good for her. But
good for her.
You know, sometimes my eyes hurt a little bit looking at some of the cosplayers there. But anyways, enough with the people there. Oh, and by the way, if you've ever been to one of these things, then you've probably heard of the PAX Plague. Luckily, neither Ray or I contracted the PAX Plague.
I did see that on Twitter. Yeah. Fist bumps, no handshakes.
Oh, I met a dev, and I'll probably put his interview up next week. But this guy, Dave, I went up to I'm trying to be professional, go up and shaking everyone's hand. The moment I extended my hand, he jumped back like I had AIDS on my face. And he's like, "Get away!" He said, "I'm just getting over a sickness from being at GDC, man." He's like, "Here, we'll fist bump." So yeah, there was many fist bumps going on. So let's get to the good part of PAX East, and that is the games. So broad strokes, I can tell you right now, PAX East is a haven for indie games. So if you're into indie games, PAX East is a show.
And you should be into indie games.
Yeah, PAX East is a show, or really PAX Prime, and now there's going to be a PAX South and a PAX Australia. So there's 4 of these to attend now. But
really?
They had something
is there going to be a PAX Australia?
Yeah. And
awesome.
Then they just announced the PAX South, which is going to take place in Austin or San Antonio, one of those Texas cities.
Cool.
I think it was San Antonio in January, like something.
Yeah. So, anyways, like I said, I mean, you could really tell, especially over even E3, that there's a very large focus on indie. I mean, they actually had something called the Indie Mega Booth, which took up probably a quarter, if not. I'm not going to say a half, right? A quarter of the show floor, and the show floor is massive. And then within the Indie Mega Booth, they have the Indie Mini Booth. So tons of indie developers out there, and that's kind of who Ray and I focused on, although I did check out some of the big boys like 2K, Bethesda, and Square. So to get things started, I just want to kind of run down the top games I either saw and or played at PAX. So you two feel free to stop me if I go on too long or if you have questions. But I'm going to start out with number 5, which Jim should appreciate. It's a game by Robin Arnott called Soundself for the Oculus Rift. So this is the first time I got to strap the Rift on. And
yeah.
What was it like?
I did tweet you saying, make sure if you get the chance to check out the Rift, and I haven't asked you about it.
Trust
and I was
me.
actually, I was really.
It was one of my main goals. I mean, I had a few goals I wanted to accomplish at PAX, and one of them on the top of the list was strapping on the Rift. So
right, okay, so I'm waiting now with bated breath. So
yeah, so this game, Soundself, I actually just put my review out, or not a review, but a preview, probably an hour and a half ago. So we'll make sure to link it in the post when we share the Budacast. But this game, and it's self-described. Robin, the developer, went on an acid trip one day when he was at the Burning Man Festival, which is kind of a artsy-fartsy culture fest we have here in the States.
Yeah, I know about Burning Man.
Yeah, exactly. So he dropped some acid and experienced these visuals and sounds, and I'm sure if you've ever tripped or eaten mushrooms or any of that stuff, you probably know what I'm referring to. So anyways, Robin wanted to create this in a game. He didn't want to have to take acid all the time, or other people to take drugs to experience this meditative trance-like state that they can produce. So that is Soundself.
So he's made a game for the Oculus Rift.
Dude, it is so far. I'm telling you, it is so
amazing.
Far out. And the moment I strapped it on, I was instantly lost within my soul. I mean, you put this thing on, dude, and it's not like playing dubstep music or anything. It's just these really loud buzzing tones that you can influence with your voice. So there's no controller, but you actually use a microphone. So I'm sitting in the middle of the PAX show floor with the Rift on my head, headphones on my ears.
Tripping your balls off.
Yeah, basically tripping, holding a mic going, kind of like an Indian.
So you're actually like trancing out.
No, dude, that's exactly what it is, and that's what Robin was trying to explain. He's like, this is a way to elicit different emotional responses using your senses. So
so that's pretty cool. And I think what's going to end up happening is there'll be acidception. So there'll be people with a Rift who will drop some acid, and then magnify the acid trip inside the Rift.
I couldn't imagine. Well, he has a quote on his website, and it's hilarious. From he showed the game at Burning Man, and the quote basically said from an attendee who probably was tripping balls, and the quote literally just said, "Face melted off," just in all caps, periods after each word. So yeah, I couldn't even imagine tripping and using this, because just being sober using it, you kind of feel that you are in this meditative trance-like state. So as you're sitting there chanting, the buzzing in your ears intensifies, and it's kind of like that wow, 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 wow sound going through your head. And then visually, since it's virtual reality, you're seeing like these spinning shapes, and you kind of feel like you're traveling through space. So it was a wild experience. I'm going to be getting my hands on the demo. And I told Robin, and I wrote up in my piece, that this game should be an Oculus Rift launch title, if not a pack-in title.
So how's it influenced your opinion of the Rift, having actually put the Rift on and seen it with your own eyes, so to speak? I
mean, without using it, I've always been intrigued by the concept of virtual reality, but now that I've actually have put one on, I'm fully excited, fully ready to embrace it and grab it the moment they officially release a date. I mean, I almost considered buying the dev kit that they're selling right now for $350.
Really? Yeah, that's an update. They've updated the dev kit as well,
just to get one here. So I'm all about it. I mean, it is a dev kit, so I don't know if they've refined the OLED screens yet. They obviously didn't seem super pure HD at this time.
No, they're not. They're a sub HD resolution.
Right. So that was kind of a bummer. But outside of that, it was everything I wanted.
With the whole Facebook thing, who knows? I mean, they've got all this money now to throw at it to get it up to spec and to get a consumer model ready. So if they keep updating the dev kit, then the HD screens hopefully will be something in the near future.
Yeah, totally. So I'm all for this. I hope that everyone out there does not let the Facebook thing kind of tarnish their image of Oculus. Every developer I talk to out there that has worked with the Oculus guys, all were behind it. They're like, it's no big deal. It's actually probably a good thing because, kind of what Ten just said, that they are going to have that money to make it even better than it is. And
Yeah.
And the Oculus guys pretty much said that Facebook is not going to be branded on the box, and you're not going to have a Facebook account to use it. So
yeah, that's good. That's what people want to hear, though, don't they? They want to hear that basically everything's staying the same. It's just that more money's been poured into development.
Yeah, so hopefully they stick with that. And I really think, I mean, Robin, I think he almost let loose a tidbit of news about the Oculus Rift. But I would not be surprised if it comes out sometime this summer. Let's just leave it at that.
Wow, really?
It really sounded like they were telling him it could be in the summer for when his game could be launched.
So I just want to quickly ask Anna if this is something that she'd be interested in, and sitting down and tripping
out the little Soundself, Anna, on a Friday night. What do you think?
Well, listening to that, I mean, it definitely sounds interesting. I mean, maybe I don't have to be so afraid of virtual reality. Maybe I can have fun with it, and it'll probably be something that I'd look into. I just need to know more and just do some more research.
This is going back to kind of what I said when on the first podcast, when we talked about the Rift, and I said it's all about exploration of a virtual space is going to be the big thing. And this, although it's, you're effectively viewing a trip, is still that kind of same thing. It's a virtual space that you're exploring, and the fact that you're using a mic and affecting that space around you, I think that's what ideally the Rift should be.
I agree.
It should excel
I still don't even know if I'd like it in a pure gaming sense, like as an FPS or whatnot. But I think for experiences like Soundself, where you just sit around and maybe meditate 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. Because, I mean, that's really what you could use it for. I mean, if you know how to meditate.
I never even thought of that.
If you know how to kind of tap into your subconscious and just really have a deep, relaxing moment, I would strap this thing on every night before I went to bed. I mean, he even has on his website that people will use it to kind of calm themselves down after a stressful day.
Maybe I need to get that.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
every semester I can relax.
Everyone out there, make sure to check out my preview of it. I embedded a YouTube video that kind of gives you an idea of the visuals and what it sounds like. So you'll kind of get a feel for Soundself. It's definitely special. Definitely one of the most memorable things from PAX East. So moving on to the next game. This was another indie delight, and this is Secret Ponchos by Switchblade Monkeys. First off, that name is freaking rad. I mean,
I was just going to say that any company that makes anything with that name, I'll throw money at it.
What are we talking about? The Ponchos?
Switchblade,
or
man. Switchblade Monkeys.
Yeah.
Switchblade Monkeys.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, definitely.
And they were all great guys. I mean, the president there was there, Yusuf. I got to speak with him. He took some time to talk to me. And then I actually worked hand in hand, and the guy that kind of ran the demo for me was Jared Fry, who's the lead 3D artist. So if you're not familiar, Secret Ponchos was revealed last year at E3 as one of the Indie 8 for the PS4. And it's basically a spaghetti western style twin-stick shooter multiplayer game. It has a very Pixar-ish design aesthetic, if you will. I mean, the characters are kind of cartoony looking.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And it's pure multiplayer. So you can do team, you can do mano-a-mano, and then there's free-for-all modes. And they were showing off the free-for-all mode at PAX, so I got to play a couple matches of free-for-all on 2 different maps using 2 different characters. And overall, it was a blast. I mean, it moves super fast. Every character has 2 weapons. Each weapon has a special move, so there's a lot of strategy involved, if you will, for a twin-stick shooter. I don't know if that makes sense, but you got to kind of balance your 2 weapons and kind of counter the other players who have different weapons and therefore use different strategies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you two looked into Ponchos at all? Have you seen any of its work? Any of the trailers? Or
I haven't actually.
No.
I remember, like you said, I remember the reveal. What was it? It was a PlayStation.
Yeah, it was at the Sony presser. I mean, that's one of Sony's big things. Was like, hey, we have these 8 indie games that are going to be exclusive to the PS4.
Yeah.
Although they just announced Secret Ponchos will be getting a Steam early access release, so those guys got their game on another platform, which
cool.
Good for them. I mean, I know Sony probably likes any any of these guys like to keep things exclusive. But for these indie developers, man, they need the cash. So the more platforms they can get on, the better for them. But it was just it was a really fun game because I'm a big fan of real fast-paced multiplayer. I don't like hiding or sniping or kind of waiting for people to come to me. I mean, Benson's played with me. I'm more as soon as I spawn, I'm like, go and just run in. And
right.
If you look at me on the map, I'm the guy spinning
like.
around in circles, just spraying bullets everywhere like I'm blind.
Leroy Jenkins.
Well, that was us when we were playing Titanfall.
It's like strategy. Who needs patience for shooting stuff? But
it's like strategy. No, I don't know what that definition is. I just want to go blow stuff up.
Shot at. That's how I like to play, and that's why I liked Ponchos because the match would just started and it just instantly turned into a cluster bang where people were like pop, 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 pop. You have a guy come up shivving you with his knife while another one's shooting you from off screen with the longer range revolver. So, cool game.
Nice.
It should be hitting Steam Early Access, I believe, in June. And then it should be hitting the PS4 later in 2014. So, also, I wrote a preview for that, so check that out, and I'll link it in the post once we share the Budacast. So, the next game I really appreciated it and honestly had no clue that I would enjoy this game so much. And this is Murdered Soul Suspect from Square Enix, if you will. Obviously I've posted some of the press releases we get and I've looked at some of the trailers. This game really didn't turn me on going into PAX East, but I knew Square was showing it, so I wanted to check it out. And really within the first 10, 15 minutes of playing the opening campaign, I was hooked. And this game it's kind of a mix of Heavy Rain and LA Noire, where you're essentially a ghost trying to solve your own murder. So bulk of the gameplay is you go around, you analyze crime scenes, you can possess people to read their thoughts to see if they can offer up any evidence. You can possess people to make them give up information to other people talking to them. You can interact with the world to do things. So I thought that was pretty cool, a gameplay mechanic. And then also the gameplay itself, since you are a ghost, the real world doesn't really apply. So, some doors you can't open because, you're like an ethereal form. You can't grab solid objects.
Yeah.
Where others that have this kind of glowing, shimmering Ghostbusters goo on them, you can walk through those walls. But while you're dead, you have demons roaming through this limbo land trying to eat you. And the only way to kill them is to sneak up on them. So there's a bit of stealth gameplay also infused in the Murdered. So have you guys looked at Murdered? Is it on your radar, or are you kind of hearing it for the first time too?
No, I did. I actually read your post about it, and it definitely sounds something that I would really enjoy. I really like, supernatural horror, type things, and what it involves, things like that, where, you're seeing all these events unfold and you're helping solve your own murder. It's a really cool concept for a game, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about it. It's kind of the same as Anna, really. I keep my eye on. I mean, what kind of genre is it? Really, it's kind of survival horror, but it's not survival horror.
It's a tough one to put. It's a tough one to put into a genre silo in gaming. I really don't. I mean, it's a mix of stealth. It's a mix of puzzle. And there is that horror aspect of it, just because it does involve demons, and you are technically dead. But I mean, the story hooked me, and I always appreciate that in a game, especially if I can get hooked within the first 15 minutes. I wanted, when I watched the opening cutscene, I wanted to learn more about Ronan, who is the main character. I wanted to learn more about what happened to his wife, why the police force basically hates his guts, and then obviously why, as soon as I hit start, I saw him get thrown out of a building and then shot point blank in the heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you, I mean, there's also another game that I'm keeping my eye on, and I don't know if it's going to be similar, and that's the Evil Within.
Yep, we did get to see a demo of that, and I wish Ray was here because he has more history with the developer. I know he's a real, famous survival horror gaming developer from Japan. I can tell you, we saw like a canned demo where a developer played through it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The game looks like it's got a little bit of work left, so I don't know when they're planning on releasing it.
The jury's still out on it, definitely.
Right. That's what I saw a lot of during PAX was a lot of mixed reviews on it. A lot of people didn't know how they really felt. Some people were like, "Oh, it's the scariest thing ever," and some were just kind of like, "Meh,
I think
needs more work."
I think a lot of people are kind of like, it's too similar to what's gone before it. And obviously, when you're making a horror game, if you make something that's really similar to, 7 or 8 games that are out on the market already, the scares aren't going to
Yeah.
have the impact that you hope they will have. So, but
Yeah.
I'm still going to keep my eye on it, and also Murdered as well, because I just think, especially with Murdered, it's a real cool concept, and if they do it right, it could be a really amazing experience. I mean, the fact that I'm struggling to think of a kind of niche to put it in is
It's tough, man. That's why I said it's kind of a cross between the. I don't know if you guys played Heavy Rain, but there's one of the characters is a crime scene investigator, and a lot of his missions are you're literally just walking around picking up clues.
Yeah,
And,
no, I
and
never
so
played Heavy
there's
Rain,
a piece of that.
but I played it. I played it last week. Actually, I played LA Noire.
Okay, so yeah, I mean it's similar to those two.
Yeah, and I loved LA Noire. I mean, it was a very kind of closed game, really. You can play it through a couple of times, but that's about it. And there wasn't much else you could do outside of the main story. But that whole, figuring something out, piecing together, a murder was really good fun. Really good fun, and not just because of the tech involved.
Well, yeah, that's still one of the best looking mocap games out there. And that's a couple years old at this point. But.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's Murdered Soul Suspect and a little bit on Evil Within. Jury's still out on Evil Within. Like I said, it looks like they got a little work to do with the visuals, and it just felt really slow to me, and I didn't see one scary thing. Some good gore, some good demented
gore
gore,
doesn't mean scary, though.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I need like Dead Space 2 anxiety if I'm gonna play a game like
that. Maybe we'll get a preview from Ray next week on what he thought, because I know he was a little let down too. So let's move on to one of the bigger and well-known releases of 2014, and by far the most packed booth at PAX East 2014. I mean, I'm talking these poor people that didn't have media access. I would assume if they didn't get there and do it the very first thing of the day, I would assume it took them 3 to 4 hours to get through the line just to play a match of Evolve. So
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, and you should be, and I'm being a dick. But I didn't have an appointment with 2K, and when I saw the setup and I saw that they were going to let you play it, I was like, damn it, I got to get in. And luckily, I found the press check-in, walked up, and they were kind enough to kind of slide me in. So it does feel nice sometimes to just have the red rope lifted for you, and you get to scoot right in while people waiting in line look at you, and you're like, I want to kill you. So I got slated in the line the way they did it. So Evolve, for those of you that don't really know what it is, it's a multiplayer game that implements a 4v1 concept. So what 4v1 means is there's 4 players versus 1 player. So the 4 players take on the roles of the human hunters, who all are class-based, and they all must work together if they want a chance to take on the one who is the monster or the Goliath. Well, the monster is called the Goliath. So when I got slated in my place in line, I was given a monster bracelet. So I got to do the one-off solo Goliath playthrough against 4 other humans who played the hunters. And I can tell you, first and foremost, playing the Goliath kicks some major balls. I mean, this thing, you play him in a third-person view, but you can still feel his weight, if that makes any sense. I mean, he's a hulking character, and you can feel him just walking through the jungle, and you kind of spawn first, and you have to go around and eat wildlife to build up your evolve meter so you can evolve. Get it?
Yeah,
you can evolve 3 times to get bigger, badder, stronger. So anyways, I'm lumbering around, I'm looking for stuff to eat, I'm punching out these goat-looking Star Wars animals, and I'm eating it, and I'm getting ready, and then bam, before you know it, the 4 hunters are on my ass, and that's where Evolve really starts to turn into a blast. So as the Goliath, again, it's just you, and the way 2K and Turtle Rock explained it is you are the boss. So we've played multiplayer games, and we played 4-player multiplayer games that may have a boss on a level. So imagine that boss being controlled by another human. I mean, that's Evolve. So I'm the boss versus 4 players trying to take me out, and I'm obviously, my powers are obscene compared to theirs. But if they work in tandem and they use their skills to, trap me, they can lock me in a dome, they can tether me with harpoons, they can heal each other, they have a good chance of winning. So the team I played, unfortunately for me, they had their shit together. And I did not. I'm just sitting there going around like, Hulk smash, just pounding stuff left and right and breathing fire and throwing boulders and leaping all over the place. And these guys just stayed on my tail and kept whittling down my health to where I had to run away and evolve. And eventually, by the end, you get to the point where you can either choose to kill them all, or a generator spawns on the map that you can go and blow up, which will win the game for the monster. Unfortunately, everyone, I did not win. They caught me at the generator trying to be sneaky, and they took me down. But love the game, love the concept of 4v1. I think it's a unique take on multiplayer, and it also forces people to play as a team. So
yeah, I just want
thoughts from you guys.
Yeah, I want to jump in and say that because I haven't played it, I've seen a little bit of footage, but it reminds me of when you played Left 4 Dead 2 multiplayer.
Well, I mean, Turtle Rock, they did Left 4 Dead. So.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah, they did the multiplayer component, didn't they? So you can kind of see an element of that in Left 4 Dead when one person becomes the tank in Left 4 Dead, because effectively the tank is kind of like a mini boss, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You all have to team up to take the tank out, otherwise that's it. You're going to be completely boned. So when I first saw Evolved, straight away the hairs on the back of my neck stood up because I was like, yes, absolutely. I loved that part about Left 4 Dead. I thought that was brilliant, so well done. And when you are the tank, and I should imagine like you found, Matt, when you're the beast, just that power, that feeling of,
I was drunk with power, man. I mean, and
exactly,
that's what cost me the match, because I'm sitting in there like, oh, you can't hurt me. And like
exactly,
I said, I'd be punching these they look like little ants to me, and I'd be spitting fire on them. And sure enough, their medic would be sitting there healing them from out of my line of sight. So I basically wasn't doing anything. And then while I was focused on that guy and he was getting healed, the assault class was shooting harpoons into me and whittling down my health. So.
Okay, so there are different classifications for the players. They're not all the same.
Well, no, each one is a very specific category.
Okay.
I mean, there's a medic, an assault. There's like a demolition oriented.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, they have to work together.
Awesome.
If someone tries to go off on their own, no chance, absolutely no chance of surviving. And the other 3 probably won't survive either.
And I think that's something that multiplayer has been missing for a while, because
good point.
Even if you go and you play on your own and you don't know anyone, even when you try to be like, well, oh, they're over here or they're at my X, it's like no one responds, no one says anything, and then you end up losing and you're like, well, I tried to do my part. I tried to be a very friendly, helpful teammate. So I like that concept where you really have to work together. It's not go off on your own.
It's also
a
good thing, because when you have a game where you have to work together, people will work together. You take a game like, I loathe to say it because I have my issues with it, but take Call of Duty. The fact that one person can dominate in that game means that nobody communicates. I mean, sure, you have clans, and yes, they will play as a team because that's what they do. But if you used to join just a random lobby, you'll find that 9 times out of 10, you will want to go through and mute everybody because they're either talking absolute crap down the microphone, or someone's got their music on, or it's just a torrent of shite.
Mom!
Yeah, just a torrent of shit coming at you. So killed off any kind of team play element that that there ever was.
I agree, man. I mean, that's kind of why I've stayed away from the Call of Duty multiplayer. Still love the campaigns, but it's like how you started off. That game really is one guy is the king of the map, and he will just eat everyone's lunch. I mean, it's just that's not fun to me, and that's why I like Evolve forcing.
Yeah, exactly.
Teamwork.
Yeah, and bringing it back to Evolve, definitely. Like the fact that you have to work as a team, and you if you don't, you will fail. And if you want to play solo, then you can always be the beast. You can always be,
exactly
the monster and go.
And I felt I did. I eventually I ended up feeling lonely. I was like, man, I'm getting picked on. I'm getting picked on. I'm this big beast, and there's 4 other people are just teeing off on the poor thing. And
oh, you poor Goliath!
I know.
Let's all feel sorry for you.
So I've got some questions on them. How was the level design? Because as the beast, surely you should be able to access areas that players can't, or lurk in the bushes, or something like that. Prepare an ambush. Or is it the other way around?
Well, because of his size, he's not hiding anywhere. I mean, I'm talking. This thing, when you first start, is probably the size of a Rancor from Star Wars. I mean, that's kind of what he reminds me of. That big brown thing that Luke kills in Jabba's palace.
Yep.
Where the fat guy comes in and starts crying. I mean, come on. He's like, oh, my boo. So, I mean, yeah, you're not really... There is a sneak attack, but I still don't know how the hell you'd ever sneak up on people, because, I mean, the Goliath is massive, and he only gets bigger with each evolve. So you can actually go through 3 stages of evolution, and after each evolve, you sit there and hold the trigger buttons while you evolve, so you're open to attack, but at the same time your shields start to regenerate, and you get more attribute points to use for perks, so you can increase your fire breath, your throwing ability, and your melee attacks.
Cool.
But the level itself, while we're talking about it, I mean, visually it looked great. I mean, I didn't notice any frame rate skips, and really that's what I look for.
Was it
now.
You said it was a jungle, like
yes.
a jungle.
Yeah, it reminded me of, it was kind of Predator-ish type of jungle.
Yeah, that's the kind of vision I had in my head. Hence why I said, is he able to hide in the shadows and ambush people? So
his biggest asset over the humans is his leap. If you angle the targeting reticle appropriately, I mean, you can jump for. It's almost like a Hulk jump for those of you that know what the Hulk can do when he jumps around. But I mean, let's say if I was getting in a really hairy situation, I could angle my reticle on like a 45-degree plane and jump, and I'd be out of there, and they'd have to run up and catch me, and it'd take them a while to get me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So if I remember, on some of the gameplay I've seen, they can actually set traps as well.
Yeah,
they
got traps, and then, like I said, one of them has a gun it's like a harpoon that can tether my movement. One can set up a dome, like an energy dome that I can't get out of, so it's kind of like a box trap for an animal. So yeah, it's neat, and when the game releases, there are going to be different character models. So right now they just have the 4 standard hunter models and the 1 Goliath, but they told us that there will be different looking monsters and characters. They'll still be rooted in classes, but
presumably those different monsters will have different evolutions.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, they really couldn't go into much because you should have saw the scene there. I mean, it was a madhouse. I mean, they had professional game casters there announcing the matches, so it was really really loud. You couldn't really talk to people.
So, you reckon this could be another kind of MLG style of competitive multiplayer?
I guess. I mean, to me, I think any multiplayer game could be there, but not all make it or even get approved. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's very competitive. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
As far as I'm concerned, anything that can smash League of Legends away gets my vote, because I just find it an incredibly boring game.
Well,
League of Legends have
League had a huge presence there too, man. They're doing live tournaments.
It's massive, mate. It's League of Legends is a massive game. If you just go onto Twitch, it's generally in the top 10 streams that you see.
Without a doubt.
It just bores me. I suppose I've tried playing it and I played a little bit of it, but oh man, I can't sit there and watch it. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they did over here. We have a show called 60 Minutes, which is like a national news show on Sunday nights, and they did a spotlight piece on League of Legends pro players, because they're now getting to the point where they're getting sports visas to compete in other countries, just like a professional athlete would.
Really?
Yeah, for League of Legends. So,
wow,
that's cool. That's cool, and I'm glad that games are heading in that way. I'm a very cautious person when it comes to that. Too much money can spoil a good thing, and I think we can all look at various other sports and see a parallel there. But
Oh yeah, there's already prima donnas in professional gaming. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
as funny
But
as
the
that
fact that
sounds, but there are some hotheads.
I can
and
well
pretty
imagine.
boys.
But it's as a whole, it's good that gaming is moving in that direction and getting more recognition.
Yeah, no, I mean it should be. I actually, it's a hoot to listen to gamecasters. I mean, it's just like I'm sure football over there, Benson's, where you have kind of a color guy that does the play-by-play, and then another guy kind of just talks about what's going on in the match. Same thing here. I mean, there's one dude. I mean, he was just so enthusiastic calling these matches. I mean, you wanted to go and just watch. I mean, you wanted to watch it like it was a sports game. But anyways, Evolve it's coming out this year, and it's going to be just for PC, the PS4, and the Xbox One. Which, quite frankly, I'm glad. Because I believe that developers that are still making games for every platform cannot dedicate the resources to the new ones to make sure they're getting the most out of the consoles. So,
as an Englishman, I say bollocks to parity.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
get with the times, people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll still support 360 and PS3 games or consoles for a while, but I really would like developers to start making the transition to just designing for PC and the new one. So call me an asshole or whatever,
Asshole.
or
Well, I mean, what's the point if we spent $400 and $500 on two consoles that games are still available on the previous gen? What's the point? Why did I spend the money?
You're going to get that right now because they're not even a year old. So a lot of these games that are coming out for all the systems, the developers were probably already working on for the 360 and the PS3. And then they're like, oh crap, the PS4 and the Xbox One's coming out. Can we port it there and try to make, get a couple more sales on a different platform?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's a shame because obviously at the moment there's quite a drought of games for next gen. And that could be because we're gearing up for E3 and obviously all the hard hitters and
I'm expecting more than a few new game reveals at E3. I mean, what else are they going to share? I mean, what else are they going to share? I mean, there's no consoles to worry about this year. It's going to be all gaming. So hopefully,
well, you don't know. You never know. The Big N might come out with something.
the Wii U 2. The Wii U 2.
The Wii 2.
Oh,
the Wii 2.
Yeah,
there we go.
The little engine
good
that
old
could.
Nintendo. So, anyways, let's move on to and trust me, I was shocked to realize that this was going to be my most favorite game at PAX East, but it was. And I'm super jacked to play it now because I got to spend 2 hours with its opening missions. And the game I'm referring to is Wolfenstein: The New Freaking Order. Believe it or not, this was the most fun I had at the show. I don't know if it's because I was put into a press room and just got to play it by myself for 2 hours. I mean, literally from the beginning until I got to a certain point, and the guy from Machine Games came up and tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, man, you're not supposed to go past that. Most people haven't made that far, so you need to stop now." And I don't know what to say, man. Wolfenstein: The New Order just kicks ass. It is everything you want in a Wolfenstein game, but it packs in a story that you're going to care about, and that's kind of science fiction-y, if you will. The main character, BJ, is just an Arnold Schwarzenegger type of kick-ass and take.
Yeah, he always has been, though. He always has been. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Matt. Really, that I haven't played it, obviously, but when I first saw it announced, I was like, yeah, not really. Nazis.
Yeah, you're like, Wolfenstein. The last one kind of sucks. So who cares?
But I've watched a few trailers, and I don't know what it is. There was one particular trailer, and I think it was on a train cart with it was like a female Nazi.
Yeah,
officer,
that was the last section they let me play. It was a Fraulein and her boy toy, if you will.
But the characters, the creepiness,
unbelievable. It is,
and
the
underlying kind of comedy that runs. You can see, you can feel it running through. It's very, it's not tongue in cheek as such, but there is an element of you're meant to not really.
It actually has
find these people serious at all.
Yeah, that scene, it's kind of out of context because I can tell you this game has it has a pretty serious tone to it. Here's a little background. So basically, it's 1946 is where the game opens up. So the Nazis obviously are in the real world, the World War II is basically wrapped before 46. So anyways, in this game, it's 46. The Nazis are winning the war. The Allied forces make a last-ditch attempt on Death's Head's compound, and Death's Head is the kind of the main bad guy. He's this freaky-looking Nazi that likes to experiment on people, kind of like I think, what was his name, Mendelssohn from real life Germany, who used to experiment.
Mengele.
Dr.
Dr. Mengele
would used to experiment on Jews and whatnot. So that's kind of what this Death's Head's character is like. So you go there and you try to kick his ass, and this is the first time you get to see like the game and the characters and the story, and so you're in the belly of this plane, and you're shooting things, and then out of nowhere these Nazi jet fighters come in that look like stealth bombers, and everyone's like, where the hell did they get this technology? So right there you're going like, all right, the Nazis have tapped into something that doesn't seem to fit for the time period. So you get shot down, you crash, and this is the first time you get to play with BJ on the ground, and right away, first thing I did, and I didn't know you could do this, but the game prompted me to, dual-wielding assault rifles. not submachine guns or handguns. I'm talking assault rifles, dual-wielding, and nothing feels better than just running through a trench on a beach with 2 assault rifles under your arms going like, I mean, it was awesome. And right there, I was like, you know what? This game is great, and it's way better than I thought. And it just got better. So to advance along to where the bulk of the game takes place in, essentially BJ gets put into a coma during the first mission. So I won't tell you how, but he gets put into a coma, and he's actually out for 14 years. And during that time, the Third Reich does win the war, and they take over the world. America surrenders, all of Europe surrenders. So by the time BJ wakes up in 1960, the world is controlled by Nazis, and not just Nazis, but Nazis that have advanced weaponry. I'm talking like these electrical guns and these big hulking armor suits. So, I mean, just the visual design really, really kind of played well off of the old 1960s setting, but with these new futuristic weapons. And the other thing I want to mention before I kind of bring you two in the fold is, hands down, the best looking gore I've seen in a long, long time. When you shoot someone with a shotgun, guess what? They're going to lose a body part, if not their head. If you shoot them in the chest, they're going to go flying backwards like they got shot with a cannonball. If you shoot, I shot someone, I had to clear a path of a plane, so I had like an 80 cal cannon. And these stupid Germans ran up and got my way, and I was like, I'm going to shoot the cannon at them, see what happens. And sure as shit, the moment that shell hit them, you could see their entire body explode into like hundreds of giblets up in the air like you would in real life. And then I would even study the giblets. That's how engaged I was with the gore. And the giblets, they look beautiful. They were shiny and they had textures. But I'm kind of a sicko in that sense, but I love gory games. I actually think it's funny. It's not like I'm demented. I think it's funny when you have games where you're blowing people's heads off. And
I think it's always good to inspect your kill. Make sure you got everything.
Right. You got to make sure that there's no brain matter left in his skull.
Right. Maybe take a couple more shots, see if anything else rips apart.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about games, but I do find great pleasure in playing with corpses.
Yeah,
I don't know whether I should have said that.
Maybe we all need to go get some professional help, but I'm the same way. I mean, that's why I love games, because it isn't real life, and they are things.
Right. I feel no guilt.
Yeah, you can go in and kind of do some screwed up stuff that if you did in real life, you would end up in an insane asylum. So,
have you played any of the previous Wolfensteins, Matt?
Well, obviously the original. I mean, as a little kid, I got into that.
Oh
one.
Yeah.
And I believe. Did
you play?
Wasn't there one? Was there one that came out on the Xbox?
Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yes. Was that Xbox or was that 360?
Exceptional.
That was Xbox, right?
It was original Xbox. The Xbox One.
Yeah, and that would have been the last time I played a Wolfenstein game. I didn't. Wasn't there one that came out on the 360 and the PS3?
Yeah, there
there's,
was, yeah.
there's that one. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, because touching on the fact that there's like a mysterious element to the technology that the Nazis are having.
Yeah,
ties in
and
with
that's the story.
Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Right, like I wanted to learn more. I mean, you don't get that usually in an FPS game that's about killing Nazis that have futuristic weapons.
Well, actually, what was that game? You play as like a mafia guy. I can't believe I've forgotten the name. And you end up having The Darkness. Is it The Darkness?
Yeah, the dude that can like shoot demons out of his arms and stuff.
I loved that. I loved that whole kind of supernatural, strange things are going on with you, and you kind of in a real strange place, and you have to kind of figure everything out. Yeah, so I really like that.
I don't know if it's. I don't want to say it was supernatural in the New Order, but it almost seemed like somehow they were able to travel to the future, or even potentially found alien technology. I mean, that's kind of the feel I was getting from it.
Yeah, so you said sci-fi, so I mean that still interests me definitely.
Oh, I mean, dude,
still figuring it out.
Even the NPCs were cool, and this game does have defining decisions. So not to spoil it, but in that opening mission, you have to choose between two characters, and the one you choose will influence. I talked to the developer and said it's not like a Mass Effect where it's going to completely change the story. But it will change certain cutscenes and certain interactions with people. So there is a little bit of replayability. Plus, there's a perk system which kind of unlocks based on how you play it. So you can either play assault style, tactical, stealth, or demolition. And it will unlock based on things you do. So, if I go around and stab a bunch of people, I'm going to unlock more stealth perks. Where if I use more guns, I'm going to get more assault. If I use grenades, I'm going to be more demolition.
Yeah.
So I found that to be kind of cool. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I think the fact that I can see Nazi jib done.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful, and hopefully when we all get it, we can just make videos of giblets over and over, and just have gifs of them littering the site and our social feeds. Because I really was blown away. I mean, because I went in with no expectations for Wolfenstein: The New Order, and 2 hours later, I came out thinking this could be one of the best games of 2014.
Which is surprising because I think you were the same as me, and I mentioned it earlier that when the initial game was announced, it was a meh.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It was meh.
Didn't make an impact at all on me. I was just like, oh, well, another game that has Nazis. Not that, that's a bad thing. I think more games with Nazis to kill is great, and we should. Yeah,
it did feel good Nazis. To go back to that World War II setting, though, because
yeah, I didn't consider
ever
that
since Modern Warfare 4, we've
yeah.
left that era of shooters, and it was kind of nice to go back there, albeit with a little bit of a sci-fi tweak. So
yeah, and we did touch upon that, I think, last and
I'll tell you what,
when we said
this is a game that's coming out on most platforms, and I played on the PS4, and it looked fantastic. It's not probably not as great as a Second Son or a game designed just for the PS4. But it looked really, really nice. Nice textures. Characters were all fully
Who is it?
fleshed out.
It's a Bethesda publisher, isn't it?
Yeah, Bethesda's putting it out, and then the developer's Machine Games.
Machine Games. What have they done previously? I don't know.
I'm embarrassed. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't, can't recall. But so definitely check out Wolfenstein. I've also wrote a little piece on that and got it featured on the official Beth blog. So how about that? Go me.
Hell
Very
yeah.
nice.
Actually, go EB.
Yeah.
It's not all about me. So let's move off. So those were my top games. Without taking up much more time on PAX East, I just want to run through a couple little ones, mainly indie games that we saw that definitely left impressions on me. First and foremost, my favorite indie game I played outside of Soundself was something called Boot Hill Heroes from Experimental Gamers. Think of Secret of Mana with 4 players, and instead of doing real-time battles, you kind of get sucked into that battle screen like a Final Fantasy.
Oh, right, okay.
Very fun. So Ray and I played with 2 of the developers, and you each control your own character during fights, and then on the overworld, the main player walks around and everyone follows him. Super charming. It has a great looking 16-bit feel to it. I still have to write my piece, which I'll probably do over the weekend or next week, but definitely Boot Hill Heroes is on my radar. If you're in the 4X games, which I just learned what the hell 4X means, even though I can't really recite all the X's right now, but it's basically 4 types of strategy and management, and that was Endless Legend by Amplitude Studios. Super deep. I mean, it looks like Civilization on steroids, and that says a lot if you've played Civilization games.
Yeah.
Dude, the management is insane. I mean, you can go into your units and change the way their shoes look, their pants, their armor. I mean, individual units. It's just nuts the level of detail and management you get in this game.
Wow.
So that's one to look for. I believe Ray has a piece out on it. Zelda fans or kind of top-down RPG fans, you may be interested in a game called Rack and Ruin. Rack and Ruin, you play, instead of Link being the hero, you play this little demon-looking guy called Rack, and your whole mission is to actually destroy the world and not save it. So I kind of like the take on the genre, and I really appreciate checking out Rack and Ruin. If you like Orcs Must Die, that franchise, they announced their new game, and it's Orcs Must Die Unchained. And for the first time in the Orcs Must Die franchise, it's now just purely competitive multiplayer. So it's not single player kind of tower defense hybrid or co-op tower defense. It's full on Fortress Siege gameplay. So that was fun. One I just wrote about earlier today, Dead Rock Divide. Think of XCOM in a sandbox RPG setting. So XCOM gameplay, turn-based, but in a massive world with an economy and all types of stuff. And then finally, WildStar, which is a huge MMO coming out. We got to speak with Jeremy, the president of Carbine Studios. Great dude. He kind of showed us some behind-the-scenes stuff. I mean, if you're in the MMOs and you're looking for something new, I would definitely add WildStar to your list of games to check out in 2014. So that kind of sums up PAX. Any other comments from the Peanut Gallery guys? You got any other questions? Or
I do have a question. For the indie ones that you just listed off, are they all PC? Are they going to be?
Good question. Boot Hill Heroes. The first episode should be available on PlayStation Mobile right now.
Okay.
Endless Legend is PC. Rack and Ruin is PC. Orcs Must Die is PC. Dead Rock Divide, PC.
Master Race.
WildStar, PC. And speaking with all of them, I mean, they're all open to getting on a console. It's just, you got to understand, some of these teams, like Boot Hill Heroes, it's one guy and a partner.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to be easier for him to develop on a PC. Even if he's developing for PlayStation or Xbox, he's still going to be coding on a PC.
This guy's name's Dave from Experimental Gamers. I mean, he just blew me away. He wrote the freaking engine for the game. So if you understand game design, all games use something called a game engine. Unreal Engine 3, Unreal Engine 4, Unity, Havoc, all these different engines out there. This dude wrote his own engine to then code his own game, which he did the art for, which he did the voices for, the writing for. The only thing he didn't do was the game's music. And he was not alone. There were many indie developers there that were either one-man teams or 2 or 3-man teams, which is just impressive.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the subject of indie games. I want to mention one that possibly was at PAX. It might not have been. I'm not too sure about it because it's a game made in the UK and it's called Gang Beasts, and it's at the moment it's in an alpha stage, and you can download the alpha and try it out. But it's made by a couple of brothers, and they wanted to make a fighting game that felt like you were having a fight with your sibling. And I highly recommend to check it out because it's like, in its current form, it's not incredibly detailed, or like there's not lots of textures, detailed textures and high-res textures, but it works so well. It has a fantastic physics engine, and you can grab onto people and throw them here and throw them there. It's got terrific level design and some destructible scenery and stuff. Nice and brief, but if you've got a PC and you want to try something fun, Gang Beasts.
All right,
Go and check it
Gang
out.
Beasts. I can't remember hearing that one. Do you remember the developer's name? That's all right.
No, I don't.
But I mean, you're right, Jip. And Anna. Anna, do you get into indie gaming at all, or is that more Ray and Benson's and?
Well, I would like to, because again, I'm
And
really
don't feel bad. I'm
trying
like
to,
you. I'm not much of an indie gamer either.
I'm trying to. I would like to, but if a lot of the stuff is on PC, and so I don't
Yeah,
really
you're like
have,
me then. We have our Macs,
hardware.
and if it doesn't work on Mac, we're not
Right.
playing
Gang
it.
Beasts is Mac.
What's that?
I don't.
Gang Beasts is Mac.
Hey, look at that
As well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I mean, maybe when if we get a Steam box, or if maybe I go the route of just getting a PC for gaming, because that is something I would like to explore. But
What about boot
it's so
camp?
hard to, find something that's gonna work, that you're not spending a lot of money, or I wouldn't even know how to build
Yeah,
one.
well,
like,
this is
for
why you've
what
got
I
boot
want,
camp,
so-
because I don't have a Windows PC as such. I
Mhm.
have a Mac.
Benson's. We don't want to poison our Mac with.
There's
Windows.
nothing. It's not about poisoning. At the end of the day, it has the same components as any other
That
PC.
software's still going on the hard drive.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm
So you're
just
stop.
busting your balls. I'm busting your balls, man.
I would never
Windows,
ta-
Schmindows, it doesn't matter. Whatever one works, it's fine.
See, I would never say that I'm a PC elitist or a master race guy or anything like that. But come on, Apple, please. It's just a computer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you get the opportunity, run your Mac in boot camp. And I mean, until
For those of you who don't know what boot
levels,
camp is, it's basically you dual boot your Mac. You can install
Yeah.
Windows on a partition and either boot
Yeah.
to the Mac OS or Windows.
So yeah, you have a dual OS, and obviously, I play most of my games in Windows because that's where they are. Occasionally, I play in Mac OS, but it just doesn't have the same level of support. And if it did, I wouldn't have Windows on my machine.
No, it makes. I mean, the only games that really get made for Windows. If they eventually might get ported to a Mac, but typically it's going to start out on Windows. Although with a lot of these indies, a lot of them were doing Windows PC and Linux, believe it or not.
Yeah,
which I
Linux
found to be
is on the
interesting.
rise, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Linux, if you're into computers and that culture, I mean, it's open source.
Exactly.
It has a very stable community, a very passionate community. So yeah, I mean, Linux is a free OS. If you want it, you can go download Ubuntu right now and have a fully working operating system for free. So, but just getting back to the indie stuff and how I said, I'm not much of an indie gamer. I can tell you after going to PAX and meeting with these people and playing some of these games, I'm definitely going to make it my mission to get into more indie games, because they're damn charming games, because these people are so passionate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their lives. I mean, they've
And it's their
sacrificed.
vision, yeah.
Yeah, many of these people were working at AAA developers, and they left decent paying jobs because they wanted to do their own thing, and it shows in the design of the game and the passion they have for it, and it's contagious. I was
And
there
not
talking
only
to
that,
them.
but
I just
you've
want
also-
to play.
But not only that, but you've also got the fact that because they've freed themselves from like the shackles of AAA development, they're free to explore their own kind of ideas and opportunity. Ideas of how a game should be designed and core mechanics that they'd like to implement.
That's
so
a great point, because
you find a lot of innovation in indie games.
I asked Drew Stoltman with Bootsnake Games, who they're working on Dead Rock Divide. It's him and his brother, and they both have worked in AAA gaming. I'm like, so why'd you get out? Was it just stressful? Did it suck? And surprisingly, he's like, you know what? Really, it wasn't stress. It was more of, I wanted to be able to take the type of risks I wanted to take without having to justify it to a guy in the suit that was worried about losing $50 million. Because these big games, I don't know if gamers understand, but some of these AAA games cost as much as a Hollywood blockbuster, if not more. So the guys funding it, eventually they just want to start making some money, so they'll start ratcheting on the developers to ramp up development and maybe get a game out that shouldn't go out.
Yeah, Battlefield 4.
Yeah, and that's what these guys said. They're like, hey, we wanted to do this because now we can take the risks we want to, and if we fail, guess what? It's on us, but at least we tried.
I think there's a little bit of backlash with that as well, though, and I think a lot of AAA developers are starting to realise that consumers aren't dumb, and we're not going to pay for shit that isn't complete. You know, it's like you've got away with it now for so long that people are starting to vote massively with their wallets. And I'm just going to use Watch Dogs as an example for that. I think that a lot of people are expecting, or were expecting Watch Dogs to release a lot earlier than what, you know, it's going to do. And I think Ubi...
Yeah, November 2013.
And I think Ubi were looking at their game thinking, hey, hang on a minute, this isn't ready. And if we release it now, people aren't going to be happy. And there's going to be a massive backlash. And they've pushed it back. The same with Driveclub. That's another one that I could use as an example that, you know, it's been pushed back a couple of times now because they, you know, developers believe that the game's not ready. And I remember looking at Driveclub and I'm looking at Watch Dogs and thinking, really? They look pretty, they look ready for release now. They look very near completion. But I think that maybe there could be a kind of small shift because a lot of indie games are coming through and the quality may not be as good in graphics or in sound or in all like big production values, but in terms of gameplay and in terms of how much fun it is to actually, you know, play this game and want to have it in your collection is really swaying the kind of development cycle that, you know, we've kind of got used to over the last few years. And I think Watch Dogs and Driveclub are an indication that they've kind of sat back and they've gone, right, okay, we're going to release something. And when we release it, it's got to be amazing. No ifs, no buts. It can't be broken. It can't, you know, people have got to be able to
it'll
enjoy
be,
it.
like you said, voting with wallets. It'll be interesting to see how the gaming community responds to the next Battlefield game. Because I think that's one of the big ones that really kind of
definitely
burnt people's asses.
And it wasn't just 4.
Year.
I mean, 3 had its problems as well. So people were really pissed at 3 for quite a long time. Then they introduced the whole premium thing. And I was one of these people. I stumped up my £40 for premium. And then about a year later, they released the Battlefield Premium Edition for 40 quid. And I just felt robbed. I was like, hang on a minute. You know, I paid £40 for the game, £40 for the DLC.
Yeah, they do burn. They burn early adopters, and it's just going to happen like, because after a year, they probably made enough money that they can start slashing the price. So you're going to get that all the time. But I understand how you feel, and
it's like I didn't get a discount.
I mean, there's many gamers that feel that.
That's what annoyed me, and it wasn't just that I didn't get a discount. And they did the same with Battlefield 4. If you got the limited edition, you got the first map pack for free. It's like, yeah, you get China Rising for free, or you get this one for free. But when it comes to actually getting premium, it's not like I get any money back for that. And that's I think it was what, £11, I think, for China Rising on Battlefield 4. It's like, well, hang on a minute. Surely I should get a discount for being, like you said, an early adopter. I bought this game at release and I got the limited edition. I should get some money back when it comes to me getting premium. But nah, it's EA, so obviously they don't give a fuck. They don't really care. Yeah.
Good old EA.
Yeah, lovely EA. They're not going to be. They're not going to be voted worst company in the world this time round.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I had a vote, I'd vote.
That's where I was going.
Freaking host. Yeah. By the way, while you bring this up, this is a public service announcement. I repeat, this is a public service announcement for any web developer out there in the world. Never, ever, 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 and one more ever, 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 ever. Sign up with Bluehost, HostMonster, or HostGator to run your web server. They are the worst companies in America. They have kept Entertainment Buddha from your viewing pleasure for 70 hours in the past 2.5 weeks. I'm surprised the site still exists and Google hasn't de-indexed us. But yeah, anyway, so if you're looking for a web host, do not use HostMonster, Bluehost, or HostGator. Suck on that, HostMonster. I hope you die. Okay, so thank you. I had to get that out of my system, get the poison out there a little bit. Yeah. All right, so hey, now let's move on to some of the games we've been playing this past 2 weeks since our last cast. And we'll try to keep this short because we just spent so much time talking about games. But I want to go to Anna because I know Anna and I we're kind of still into the Lego games, even though Tim Benson's may look down on us.
No, I don't look down. I don't look down on you, really.
But Anna, so what do you think of Lego the Hobbit? I mean, is it coming through for
rubbish.
you?
It's rubbish.
Does it have the same charm? It's rubbish.
It's
rubbish.
No, it's not rubbish. It's fun. I still have fun playing them. Those are my go-to games. Like, I don't want to think about anything. I just want to play and
that's the key. It's not
mash up
think.
Stuff, break stuff, build stuff.
Yes.
That's what I go to. And I really do love these Lego games. I'm an avid Lego fan, have been for some time, and these games just suck me in every time. And now that they actually talk is even better.
Yeah, I love how they just basically
sucker
rip
you in. They sucker you in because they haven't changed the formula up for 7-8 years.
No, well,
what is it,
I haven't played Lego Marvel Superheroes, nor have I played much of Lego the movie.
Lego Marvel Superheroes, you have to play.
Oh, trust me, it's going to get played at some point in time. But in that game, did they have some of the mechanics like Lego the Hobbit, where you can kind of have two players attached to each other and do different types of attacks or puzzles?
No.
So is that something new in Lego the Hobbit then?
Yeah, in Lego Hobbit, you have to do that. You have to pair up in order to break stuff.
Yeah, so as mindless as these games can get, and I'll be the first one to admit it, there's some times where I get stumped.
Me too.
It's happened at least once or twice in Lego the Hobbit. I'm sitting around going, what in God's name am I supposed to do? What have I not smashed yet that's going to have little bricks to build that's going to unlock the next area? So
I'm the same way. I mean, in all the Lego games that I've played, I think those are the only ones that I still try to go for 1,000 gamer score, because they're just so easy and you can just replay them and you're breaking stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of time though. I give you credit if you go for 1,000 on a Lego game. That's a time investment.
Lego Harry Potter. I forgot what year it was, but I think it was 5 through 7. When you're running away from some Death Eaters and you're trying to go for a mini kit, you can't be Harry.
Those damn mini kits.
You can't. It's. I'm just an achievement.
Once again, I have no idea what you're
Lego
talking
games.
about. And I'm not just talking about Lego either. I was just Harry Potter, Lego.
Come on, man. You love Harry Potter, right? I mean,
No.
didn't you go to Hogwarts over there? Is it Hogwarts and Portsmouth?
Do you think
or
that
something?
every sodding train station in the UK I can just jump between a brick wall at a platform
Of course,
and end
man.
up at Hogwarts?
What platform is it, Anna? Is it 9 3/4?
Yeah, 9 3/4.
9 3/4.
Yeah, Benson. Next time you're at the train or the underground, just run into a wall and see what happens. Make sure.
Why not?
Someone's
we've
filming
got
it, though.
NHS, yeah. So
Yeah.
my medical bill will get picked up by the state anyway. So
Yeah.
worth a shot, I suppose.
I do love the train system over there in England. I gotta throw that in.
You got to be. I think you're the only person who does.
Well, you're coming from an American that lives in a city without any type of public transport like that. I mean, you have the subway ties right into the rail system. I found it very easy to get around when I was in London, so I appreciate the old underground signs. What was the one station we went to? Oh well, never mind. So Lego the Hobbit. It's a Lego game. It is what it is. I would recommend if you're a gamer that has kids and you kind of want to bring people into the mix.
Yep.
Great freaking game to play with the family or little kids, because you can't die. I mean, you could have your little boy or girl who's 3 or 4 and really doesn't know what the hell's going on, just run around with you, and they would enjoy it just as much as you are.
Yeah.
So still a fun game, and obviously if you like The Hobbit and the movies, you'll enjoy it, but I think it was a little pricey at $60. I don't know about you, Anna. What'd you think?
I agree.
I think Lego games at this point should be 40 tops.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Especially because it's not like you're paying for anything other than a new tie-in.
Yeah. I mean, and I get that it's a big title and it's a big, it's The Hobbit. It's a big movie, but it's really not worth that much.
No. So Anyways, let's kick it over to Tim Benson's, who actually did a great video review on a game called Combat Mission Red Thunder, which you can check out on the site or our YouTube channel, and it actually got featured on the developer's website. So
yeah, it did.
We're kind of banging it out of the park this week with getting our content shared on the developer's site. So. Real briefly, Jim, because I know you have a great 25-minute video
exactly.
that people can check out. But
the video goes into quite a lot of depth, so I'm going to keep it real brief. But Red Thunder is essentially a very strategic and incredibly detailed World War II strategy game. Is probably the best way to describe it. Although it's not quite a strategy game because there's certain elements in there that it's a bit like chess. It can take quite a while to learn the game and its tactics and all the things that are involved in there. But it is absolutely superb. Is
it turn-based or is it real time?
Well, no, you can play either turn-based or real time. And if you play real time, you're gonna have a bad time.
Oh, dude, I can imagine just watching that and listen to how much studying you had to do, if you will.
Yeah,
like,
there's a morale system. Your troops are affected by absolutely everything thrown at them.
I love that.
Decisions that you make will affect how combat effective they are. There is an ammunition system. So each man has his own pool of ammo, and if he uses that up, of course, he becomes combat ineffective. Vehicles have.
Oh my god! You have to manage everyone's ammo.
You don't. Well, it's not that you manage their ammo; they manage it themselves. But obviously, if you have a guy or a squad shooting at an enemy position, because sometimes you will get them to target an area without knowing that there's an enemy there. So if you think on a tactical level, you might suspect a guy hiding in a bush or a group of guys hiding in a bush, and you want to coax them out. So you shoot at the general area. You may not hit them, but you'll do enough to affect their morale and maybe make them retreat or maybe make them open fire, which then will give their position away to other troops. So, there's a line of sight system, a command and communication system. You've got to make sure that everybody can communicate because information is passed around from man to man, from squad to squad, right up until you get to like the commander. And it's just, like I said, an incredible amount of depth, an incredible amount of systems. It's something that is totally unique to strategy games. A lot of strategy games that you can just get a certain number of units and then completely whitewash your opponent by sheer numbers.
So you can do you build up an economy? Do you have like a barracks or something, or like a machine shop or?
No, it doesn't work like that. The mission structure is done on a very much a realistic level. So
so you're given a set amount of units
at the start of the game.
You manage that, and that's it.
At the start of a mission, you are given a set number of units, and you use those units however you see fit. Sometimes you'll get reinforcements as the game progresses, and they are generally like another bunch of units that you get to use, or it could be artillery or an airstrike or something like that. Now, campaigns are different because campaigns are a series of missions that contain core units, and these core units carry over certain attributes, like what I've mentioned. So casualties, if they take casualties, those casualties will carry over to the next mission. Ammunition, morale will all carry over. So you've got to be really careful when playing a campaign that you don't, say you get given a mission where the briefing says, don't worry too much about this. This is just like a small engagement. We don't expect a large amount of enemy. So don't push too hard. Although it doesn't tell you to do that, it's just saying that don't expect there to be a massive fight. Now, if you go all out and send loads of troops out and they get absolutely murdered by a very well-placed machine gun because you've been careless, those are going to carry over to the next mission. And you might find that the next mission, you're having to defend a certain area and you've only got half the troops or half the ammunition, or most of your troops are nearly broken and want to flee. So
kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you really want to know some more about it, check out the video because I spend 25 minutes talking at length
you
about
all learned up on Red Thunder. But just my takeaway from it, I love, and I think it was one of your favorite things too, is the fact that your troops can get shell shocked just like real troops can.
Yeah.
And they will
Artillery
actually
is
not
devastating.
fight for you if they're demoralized, and that's fantastic. So.
Yeah, they'll run away. Like I said, they have self-preservation. So if you,
I can just see your little guy going like, "Screw you, General Benson." He's like, "I'm not fighting."
I mean, just as a little finishing thing, here's another neat little touch, something that I absolutely love, and it is the fact that after playing it, and I've played it for a good 40 hours now, I'm still finding new things, and I love it when games do that to me. I love it when I find that I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know that," and I was commanding a tank, and I was engaging another enemy tank, and you can order tanks to open up their hatches, and the driver and the commander will poke their heads out, and it lets them see further and see clearer. Now, the enemy tank had his hatches open, and my tank fired a shell. And bearing in mind, I have no control over this apart from just telling it to target the tank. It fired a shell which ricocheted inside the hatch and destroyed the tank.
You blew up your own tank?
No, I didn't blow my own tank up. I blew up the enemy's tank, not by penetrating the armor. It fired. The shot went into the driver's hatch and inside the tank. It ricocheted off his hat, off the lid, and went in. And I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned.
Swish,
so there's so many,
right through the hole,
so many little details that you just constantly find. So
I
check out the
think
video.
I could find myself getting into Red Thunder. I like those strategy games.
Well, it's not just Red Thunder. There's a whole series.
Yeah, it looks like they have a whole series of stuff.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out their back catalogue as well, because from what I can tell, they're all pretty similar, just different and further iterations of the engine. So this one is the third iteration, so it's the most advanced one. But yeah, brilliant game.
Cool, yeah. People like World War II strategy games. Make sure to check out that coverage. So we're going to move on to our last topic. And before we get into it, I just want to make an announcement.
Spoiler
alert! Spoiler alert!
Incoming spoiler alert.
If you don't want to hear spoilers about Game of Thrones TV show, you might want to turn this episode down for the next couple of minutes, because we're gonna briefly discuss The Lion and the Rose, which was the second episode of season 4. So, again, spoilers are inbound. All right, team. So we've all watched Game of Thrones religiously. We're all caught up on season 4, and last week's episode had a fairly large death take place. one that fans of the TV series probably thought couldn't come soon enough, and ones that readers of the book like myself knew was just around the corner. And we're talking about what has been dubbed geniusly by the TV watching public the Purple Wedding, as opposed to last season's the Red Wedding, which is in the book. In the book, well, let's just get to it. Joffrey's dead.
Yeah.
The Purple Wedding, the reason it's called the Purple Wedding is because at the very end of the episode, Joffrey begins to choke on a pigeon pie and some wine. And by the time he dies, the poison that was used on him basically turns his face purple, and he starts to bleed out of his face. So that's where they got the Purple Wedding. But yeah, ding dong, King Joffrey is dead. A Lannister has finally fallen after watching all these poor Starks just get destroyed over the past couple of episodes. So I know you two haven't read the book. So how good did it feel to see Joffrey finally meet his maker?
It felt great. I mean, and great is politely putting it, but it was fan-freaking-tastic. Like, about time, because I root for the Starks. I mean, I really do, and just seeing them all die.
Well, I think naturally everyone
other.
does. That's why people got so emotional with the Red Wedding, because they just like, how can you kill off? They're the heroes, right? They're the hero. You can't kill the heroes, but that's George R.R. Martin. He'll kill whoever the hell he wants to kill.
If you could have seen my reaction, like if I would have ended up in one of those reaction videos, I just
would have went viral.
About it.
Yeah.
Oh, like even.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. When I read the Red Wedding in the book, I've never been that affected by reading. I mean, I was laying in bed and my heart was pounding. I was going, no, you can't, no, no, these damn Lannisters win again.
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely horrible, and so to see him just choking and no one really doing a thing.
Yeah, that's the cool thing.
It was
You're like, help your king. No.
It's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that lady's great. I mean, they don't go in the Queen of Thorns. That's Grandma Tyrell. She's fantastic.
I love the interaction between her and Tywin. I love that.
It's and that's hidden in the book too. I mean, she's a great character in the book. Probably not getting her due on the show, but yeah, they call her the Queen of Thorns, and she's fantastic.
But I saw her little interaction with Sansa. So
okay, so
yeah.
Now, I mean, I'm not gonna. I'll let you hash it out on your own. But who do you two think poisoned Joffrey?
I'm with Grandma.
What about you, Benson's?
Marjorie.
Okay.
And the reason why
you guys are both leaning towards the Tyrells have a hand in
for sure.
Then again, like there's see, this is it. I was having a chat with my girlfriend, and I just want to, before we do that, I haven't had my reaction yet to Joffrey.
Oh, sorry, buddy. So what were you? You probably love Joffrey, and you're probably upset. Right?
It's not that I love Joffrey. I don't like Joffrey. The character Joffrey is. There's a certain thing that Bronn says in one of the series, and that sums him up. I won't repeat it, but I was glad to see Joffrey go, but it was real bittersweet for me because he was such a great talking point. And I'm like,
I was going to bring that up. The actor that played him just did a phenomenal job. His name's Jack something. I forget his last name. And supposedly he's retiring from acting.
Yeah, he is.
He was actually the little kid in Batman Begins. If you ever go back and watch that's King Joffrey when he first started. But he did such a good job at playing that asshole kid that you just wanted to smack. And even leading up to his death when he was terrorizing Tyrion and making fun of him and dumping wine on his head. Just fantastic.
Yeah, he's perfect. Absolutely perfect for Joffrey, and deserves every bit of praise that's given to him. And even the hate, I suppose, when you look at it, is praise. When you
he probably did so good that people probably really do hate him
they
in
do.
real life.
They do. If you see some of the Twitter responses to him, people saying, I hope he dies in real life and stuff like this. It's all right, it's internet, so we got to expect these kind of stupid comments. But if I was him, I would be taking that with such pride. Like, I'm really getting this kind of raw emotion from people, from a character I play. It must be brilliant.
Yeah, that's just a testament to how good of an actor he is. Yeah. I mean, if you can hate him in real life as him as the actor,
I am the king.
I mean, he's done his job. Like, he has done his due diligence to make you feel just pure hate for this 13-year-old boy who has no idea how to be a king, who's not even a real king. He's not.
Exactly, yeah.
By birthright, he doesn't even deserve to be a king.
He's a child of incest.
Product of incest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And a bastard. But here's I actually started watching the show before I read the books, and I am glad I did that because the show, the books are written well enough that you should be able to draw up images in your mind of the characters as Martin writes them, but the show really helped me to just kind of latch on the faces and knowing the actor to play Joffrey and then actually reading it. It just helped to feed into his assholeness, and so I'm glad I kind of approach it that way.
I just want to go back to when we were speculating on.
Yeah, so who do you think, Benson?
Right. Well, like I said, Marjorie for me is the obvious suspect. However, I was kind of intrigued by the fact that before as Joffrey was kind of choking, what's his? I can't remember the name, but he's the knight that was
Sir Dantos.
He's the fool.
Yes.
Yeah. And he says to Sansa, if you want to live, you got to come now.
Okay. So I'm glad you picked up on that because
he obviously he knows what's going to happen. He has an idea of what's going to happen. He's reading that situation. So
did you notice in the first episode?
Well, yeah, they brought him back in and he gives her something. And I'll make a comment here.
Yeah.
In the books, I can tell you those two have a much more fleshed out relationship than you saw on the show.
Right, okay.
So all along, Sansa has been not at all planning an escape, but been, she's kind of confided in Dantos, and he's like, I'll protect you, and because when she was engaged to marry Joffrey, he just terrorized her, and he kind of took Sir Dantos after he became made the fool, kind of watched over her, but yeah, he's part of the plan.
Yeah,
right, and I mean, and he gives her the necklace, and then. Going back to that wonderful interaction that Grandma had with her. I mean, she's talking to her, talking about, oh, you should come visit High End. You'd really like it there. And meanwhile, she's touching her braid.
Oh, damn, you were so good. You are spot on, Anna. I tell you what, it's almost like you read the book.
What? See, I missed that. She's touching her braid. What, her hair?
No, Anna is... She is keyed on to some very minutia type of stuff that even in the books you don't find out until I think book 4. So very good observation.
But
I'm gonna have to watch it again now.
It took watching it again because you watch these episodes and you're like, okay, cool, this is happening, and this is happening. But when you take the time to stop paying attention to the bigger picture and you start looking at the details, that's when you're like, wait a minute. Okay, but he gave her that necklace, and it was like, oh, but you have to take it.
Very good. I mean, I'm amazed that you picked up on that. I mean, because they don't make it obvious at all.
No, they don't. And the way that they do it, it just plays out like it's this guy who's just, oh, I don't have anything to my name. Just take this necklace. It's all I have, and I want you to have it. Okay. Oh, okay. And when you watch that interaction, and it's not the first braid, but the second one that she touches, and she just takes something, and then when you look at the necklace again, one of the blue crystals,
damn,
I'm assuming they're crystals,
they're missing. Eyes, lady. Damn, that is so impressive.
It's missing.
That is great.
What the?
That is great.
Yeah,
that is great.
And then when
Anna,
I get lost,
are you sure you should be a detective?
Oh, I pay attention to details. That's what's really making that.
I didn't even pick up on
happen.
That.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm serious. Go back and watch it.
I'm impressed. Both of you kind of pointed at the Tyrells because I asked my wife the same question, and she said exactly what Anna said. She said it's the Queen of Thorns.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there going, man, how did you decipher that? But that just goes to show you that the showrunners know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's the obvious choice that it's definitely going to be the Tyrells, and the fact that it's for me it was Marjorie didn't eat any of this pie. She was feeding Joffrey the pie,
and it's
so on,
like with the pie, like when he's belittling Tyrion, and then she's like, oh, look, the pie! Like, what a perfect moment.
Here's the deal. I mean, it's not the pie.
Oh no, it's not the pie. It's that blue crystal.
Very good.
And I don't know
that
where.
And the drink, basically.
Exactly. And then that's where I lose track of when it happened, because she takes it, but they don't show you anyone near his goblet.
And I don't know if you remember when
you.
Tyrion gets the goblet, who hands it to him? Sansa does.
What?
Right.
So Sansa's in on it?
Well, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much from the book.
The silence speaks volumes. Oh, I've got to watch it again. I've got to watch it again and piece this all together.
I can tell you that Sansa was
hang
not
on.
in
She can't be completely in on it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be dragged away.
No, she's not in on it. But
I don't like.
But that's how they get the poison to the wedding,
exactly.
right?
Right.
So they've used her.
On. Yes.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
And there's one.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break from this week's episode of the Entertainment Buddha podcast, as our editor-in-chief, Matt Hayward, has let slip a few details that may allow you to gain further spoilers from future episodes. We hope to resume service as shortly as possible. Thank you for your patience.
We're stopping right now because I'm giving away too much shit.
yeah, stop.
Well,
No more. Stop.
Kind of backtracking to how, we're all pointing at. I don't know their names. I'm just gonna say Grandma and Marjorie. I even before paying attention to the whole necklace thing, I always thought it was them, only because when you're thinking about past episodes and when she first comes and she's asking, Marjorie's asking Sansa, tell me about Joffrey.
Yeah, no bullshit.
And I
feel
you're spot on. I mean, basically, it's Westeros. Every family is trying to play the Game of Thrones. And
right.
The Tyrells see this as their... I mean, that's why they wanted Marjorie to marry Joffrey after Renly died, because they're trying to improve their situation in Westeros. And yeah, I mean, it only starts to get even more insane, and more people pop up and other families get involved.
But
as we move on.
also, I think the second episode also sets you up for a lot of things to come. So, yeah, Joffrey is like one of the main things that happens, and he's dead. But also just the little tidbits of interactions that they give you.
Well, it's obvious that Cersei is going to blame this on Tyrion, right? I mean,
of course.
Okay,
yeah,
so
and I think
the rest of the season will probably play out with his trial, which also ends up in some pretty crazy stuff happening. So, literally, without risking talking about the book and stuff that hasn't been seen, I kind of want to move on. But the Purple Wedding was great. I actually thought they nailed that scene. I've started doing a recurring post on Mondays, basically called Game of Thrones, the episode name, What Was Different? And I try to go through and highlight what was different in the show when compared to the books, but also what was very similar and spot on. So you can check those out. And if you've read the books, it's a nice way to remember, what is different and what worked and what did they change and did it work. So yeah, that's the Purple Wedding. Can't wait to see what happens in episode 3. It looks like we're going to finally get to go back to the Wall and see what's up with Jon Snow and the wildling attacks.
Oh,
it's about time you smiled, isn't it? Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Jon Snow. Oh, man.
He's like a fish. His mouth is constantly open.
Yeah, he's always brooding over something.
Yeah.
Because he knows nothing.
Jon Snow, you know nothing.
You know nothing,
I can't even
Jon
say it.
Snow.
I can't even say it like she does.
She said it like Jon Snow.
Yeah, there you
know
go.
Nothing, something like
Benson's
that.
Benson's a little bit better. Yeah, she's got. What would you say? Is that more of a Scottish accent she has?
It's northern. I wouldn't say it's Scottish. More Newcastle, but not Newcastle. So definitely Northern England.
Gotcha. Hodor. All
Hodor.
Right.
What a job.
Right? I mean, who would not want that? Just lug people around and your only line is Hodor.
Yeah,
he's a fan favorite too. So
yeah, he's massive as well, isn't he? Massive guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. So that's our brief discussion on Game of Thrones. Hopefully, we didn't ruin too much of the series or the show or the books for you, but it's just such a damn good show, and there's so many little things to talk about that. One day we may just have to have people that have read the book and just have a big spoiler fest.
Post production, I might have to edit some of the.
You probably should for sure.
I'll put bleeps over certain.
Yeah,
names.
the one that we just talked about, definitely get him out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so
who wants to know about Ned Stark coming back from the grave? I mean,
the ghost of Ned Stark. Him and Rob team up like Batman and Robin.
That's right, man.
And they go around
Underworld.
And they possess people with their dire wolves. So, all right, people, geeks, gamers, nonconformists. I think we're gonna put this episode to rest. This was the third episode of the Budacast. Again, we called it the PAX East Extravaganza and shit. And the shit part was obviously our Game of Thrones spoilerific discussion. So, as always, thanks for giving us a listen. Thanks for Benson's for making these sound so great. We got a lot of great feedback from those that did listen to episode 2 that just loved the sound production. They all thought we were actually all in the same room talking to each other, which it just goes to show that our man can do some serious sound engineering. But as always, there's a little plug for you. But as always, make sure to check out the site on a daily basis, except when Host Monster keeps us down for 24 hours at a time. So you can hit us up at entertainmentbuddha.com. Before we leave you, I just want to go around the table. So anything you want to plug, 10 Benson's, Twitter?
Yeah, obviously my Twitter, as always. You follow me at 10 Benson's and get your ass on YouTube. Follow EB, give us a subscribe, and enjoy the content.
Booyah. How about you, Anna?
Oh, yeah. Boom.
Just you can follow me at Febzilla on Twitter, and I really don't have anything to plug.
That's all right.
No. I
Nothing
know.
to sell.
How dare you not plug the book?
No Girl Scout cookies to sell or anything?
No, no Girl Scout cookies, nothing.
All right, well, I'll use up Anna's plugs then. So I'm Matt Haywood.
And I'll be fading it out right here.
Yeah,
So
you'll be like changing my voice and putting disco music behind it. Anyways, I'm Matt Haywood. You can follow me on Twitter at Matt Haywood, and that's MATTH3YWOOD because someone ganked my name. You can also file the site on the Twitter at EntBuddha, ENTBUDDHA, because I know people have trouble spelling Buddha, or as Benson's would say, Buddha.
Hey, look.
Yeah, hey, right?
I'm
We're
English,
learning.
dude.
One day I'm going to get the
English.
Z's down, and I'm going to use S's instead of Z's and all that.
Don't tell
stuff.
me how to talk my own sodding language.
Oi,
Yeah.
oi, oi.
Yeah, oi, sort it out.
Oi. Fuck the geezers. So anyways, thanks again, people. We love talking about this stuff. Hopefully you love listening to us talk about it. We appreciate you. You're kind of what makes us coming back and writing every day, doing video reviews, doing Buddhacast. So get with the program. Follow EB everywhere you can. We are out.
Peace.